Welcome to Monumental Moments, where we live to multiply His movement. I'm Melissa Machenbacher, and this is a place we passionately pursue and proclaim Jesus. Today's monumental moment is titled Lost at Sea. I took the liberty to plan something to get us out of our comfort zone. I decided that we were going out to dinner. The only caveat, we had to make our own dinner. I bought tickets for a date night cooking class. It sounded dreamy. Handmade gnocchi. I suddenly daydreamed about being in Italy with the song That's Amore by Dean Martin softly playing in the distance and my handsome husband by my side. The menu included roasted garlic gnocchi with brown butter sage sauce, served with a fresh kale salad and capped with chocolate biscotti for dessert. I booked the evening experience and I thought I would surprise my husband later. He does not love to cook, so this conversation had the potential to get a little heated. To my surprise, he took it well and was so excited to set aside his computer and put on the bright kitchen apron. We walked into our date night together and immediately met another amazing couple at our cooking station. Ron, the husband across from us, had surprised his wife with the cooking experience as well. The four of us all had something in common. We were setting out to do something fun, new, different, and break up our routines. Together, we chopped dark kale, minced fresh garlic, shredded cooked potatoes, and pressed balls of chocolate dough to take on the form of what would become biscotti. Before we knew it, we were lost in a sea of bite-sized gnocchi rolls. We rolled and shaped while having great conversations with all the cooks in the kitchen. While we were rolling and shaping and waiting to cook the gnocchi in the watched pot of water that felt like it would never boil, we got deeper into conversation. Ron shared an experience he had not too long ago out at sea. He was a fellow scuba diver. We continued to hit it off with our new friends as the table talk carried on. He had gone on a scuba diving adventure and chose a boat dive that was about 20 minutes offshore. The crew and all the passengers had suited up and went in the water for a memorable dive. Sounds like they had such a great time maximizing their underwater time as much as possible. The problem was when Ron had finished his dive and came up with his buddy diver, the dive boat was gone. The boat had left them, almost as a man overboard situation. They were literally left alone and lost at sea. Ron thought quickly and clipped his vest together back to back with his buddy diver. He knew that they would have a better chance of being discovered if they were together, and he knew that he needed to be back to back in case that she would have a panic attack at sea and try to rip off any of his gear in the process. They floated for hours, much like we hoped our gnocchi dinner would be doing soon as we continued to watch the pot for signs of boiling water. Ron went on to explain the thoughts and fears that can begin to weigh you down in those circumstances. It's hard to imagine being in that scenario. Finally, our pot of water was boiling to cook our dinner. The gnocchi went into the pot about 10 at a time and stayed in the boiling water for a couple of minutes until they floated. I had to ask Ron more about floating out at sea in the salty ocean water. He explained that eventually another boat drove by and saw them floating in the water. As we were scooping out our gnocchi, he said they were scooped up and brought back to dry land. I thanked God for his mercy, and I told Ron, the Lord was watching out for you. He agreed. I couldn't help but think of Jonah in the Bible when he was out at sea. Jonah had a word from the Lord and an assignment to carry out, but instead he ran from the Lord. Jonah didn't get unintentionally left at sea. Instead, he asked to be thrown overboard. The storm was getting so rough. Jonah had said in Jonah 1, verse 12, "Pick me up and throw me into the sea." He knew it was his fault the storm had come upon them. Jonah 1:15 and 16 says, "Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm." At this, the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord, and they made vows to him. Instead of eating fresh fish from the catch of the day, Jonah himself became the dinner. Later, the Lord made a huge fish to swallow Jonah, and he stayed in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. I encourage you to read the 4 short chapters of Jonah to learn more. From the belly of the fish, Jonah prayed in Jonah 2:2 that says, "In my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From deep in the realm of the dead, I called for help, and you listened to my cry." Jonah 2:9 says, "But I, with shouts of grateful praise, will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will make good. I will say, salvation comes from the Lord." In Jonah 2:10, we know the Lord commanded the fish to vomit out Jonah onto dry land. And in Jonah 3:3, we learn Jonah obeyed the word of the Lord. In Jonah 4, we read where God continues to teach him. God is good at continuing to teach us through circumstances. Scott and I had more than dinner, more than an experience or a date night or great conversation. We had our eyes turned yet again to Jesus, who continues to save, rescue us from the storms of life, and teach us of his compassion and unending faithfulness. Don't wait until you are lost at sea or in turbulent conditions to call upon the name of the Lord. Call upon him now. Talk with him. Talk about him. What conversations can you cook up in the kitchen or around the dinner table that will share of God's love and faithfulness and encourage others in their faith? Plan a meal and pair it with a story or a chapter in the Bible. Talk about what it means to you. Linger and learn more about God around the dinner table. How can you make monumental moments and live to multiply his movement today?